Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again at In the Know. We're catching up with some of your favorite celebs, reality TV stars, and more direct from their homes. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today we're joined by Alexis Ren, a model who you may recognize from being a finalist on season 27 of Dancing with the Stars, as Sports Illustrated Swimsuit's 2018 Rookie of the Year, or her inescapable Instagram presence. During our chat, Alexis and I talked about how she's honoring her late mother through her various endeavors, including a new anniversary line with Sonja and a burgeoning music career. We also discussed what it's like to have the media report on her love life, as well as her effort to fight back against the pressure to be perfect. Keep listening for my full interview with Alexis. Hi, Alexis Ren. How are you?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm good. So I know you're in Hawaii right now, which I'm very jealous of. How have you been holding up in quarantine?
Well, I knew that this was a really great time to spend time on creativity. And Hawaii is always like a really good ground for that for me. And my god sister lives here. So I assumed I could be here and I would be a better person to help the world if I was working in a creative space as opposed to in an apartment in LA. So I'm here and just working on certain projects that can help lift other people's spirits up and yeah, doing the best I can,
Love it. Love it. What are some of those projects that you've been working on? I did see the other day that you started singing, which we love. You sounded
Yeah. Oh,
amazing.
thank you.
What talk to me about some of these projects you're working on.
Yeah, so a few of them I can't talk about yet, but one of them
Okay.
is the music, particularly for Mother's Day. Randomly, I was sitting in my room meditating, and it came to my head, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to release music for a really long time. I've been writing for a couple months, different songs, and I just didn't know how to launch it because I wanted to self launch it, and so then I realized I was like, oh, I wrote a song for my mom. She passed away to cancer in 2014. So I was like, how can I, not really make this about me and then make this a movement in some way where we can open up our hearts. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I can incorporate girls who have lost their mom as well. And this could be actually an amazing thing for them. I randomly got contacted by the only nonprofit in the United States that serves girls who lost their mother that are all under 24 years old.
Wow.
And they are now becoming a part of the video as well. And it's just it's coming together so crazy because
It's
they have the website, we have
amazing.
the funnel, the girls are sending all of their videos, and it's just yeah, it's coming together. I think community has been the word that I've been trying to implement into each of my projects because I feel like that's what we're lacking, and we have all this opportunity for self-reflection. And then because we have the internet, we can still connect. So it's just huge opportunities left and right.
Definitely. And I'm, you've been very open with that part of your story about losing your mom, and it's very emotional, but have you felt that community before this? Have people reached out to you before this just about having a similar experience to you in that way?
Yeah, it's surprising to me how many girls are like, "Oh, I followed you because I lost my mom too," and I was like, "No way! That's so cool." And I dedicated a
Yeah.
dance to her on Dancing with the Stars, and then that really had girls come in and confide in
That's
me.
showing a light on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's I have a poem where I say "Your death forever a part of me, your end was my beginning," and I really do mean that. I think her ending was when I really started living because I was like, I'm living for two people now, and I want girls to look at it like that. With any death of someone that they're really close to, it's like cool. Like you have two legacies, you have two hearts in you now.
And so the singing project is based in this nonprofit that reached out to you. Do you plan on going beyond that with your singing, or is this just kind of the starting point for you?
Yeah, we have we have big plans. I mean, self-expression in an art form is what I'm most passionate about, and I didn't even know I had the capability to sing. So I've been just training my voice for the last 3 months, and I write poetry as well. So the writing the songs came really naturally.
It's very natural marriage.
It
Yeah,
all
for
made
sure.
sense, and I was like, wait, I almost feel like I've been like my life has been planning me to get to this point so I could realize it. And I just, yeah, for me, the music is about what I'm actually saying because what I want to implement into girls is if I'm talking about a breakup, I definitely want to keep the energy high and saying yeah, this sucks. This person hurt me, but we always have responsibility in what we attract into our lives. And so it's like taking responsibility on that way. I don't want girls to play victim to external things in their lives anymore. So that's what I've been trying to get around with the lyrics. And also with my mom's death, it's like bringing light on how it's now a weapon, but it's also one of your biggest gifts.
Yeah, and you're really channeling that energy, and I think that's really commendable that you're doing that.
Thank you. I mean, it's crazy and exciting, and I always tell my friends, I'm like, why do I do this? I just throw myself in with the wolves in every situation. I'm like, I want to dance again. Dancing with the Stars, 10 million people watching me, and it's like I want to sing again. Like that's what's so weird about being in the position that I'm in. I can't just innocently start something new, and my friends be like, yeah, it's like if I do it, I have millions of people watching me, and they're gonna be like, this is shitty, this is bad, and I'm just like, okay, well, I just started, so give me a sec.
I mean, that was something I was going to ask you kind of later on, which is like, okay, if you have this interest in singing, is that something that would have previously maybe prevented you from even pursuing that? Is sort of like getting that immediate worldwide feedback on something like this?
I mean, it feels sometimes unfair because I don't get a chance to I want to share it with people, right? Because I think sharing progress is really special, because I firmly believe that I want my following to be a part of my story, not just like, hey, I'm a singer, hey, I'm this. It's like, no, I'm just starting to sing. Here's a little video of me learning, and then I'm going to build my way up, and I have a lot of plans, and this is just the beginning. But I want to share progress, not perfection, because I'm really just living in this world of social media. I'm really tired of the idea of perfection. And I think when I say to someone they're perfect, what I mean is I never who you are to me is perfect, no change, right? So the idea of perfection to me is kind of twisted in this society. So I just try to show, no, I'm progress, I'm learning, I'm doing the best I can. And then once I know better, I'll do better. And not be afraid to show that. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I had a moment last week where, it was a lot of hate and then a lot of love. And so my heart was leaning towards the hate and then leaning towards the love. And then I realized, I was like, you know what, but people are talking, and that means they care. And then they're interested to see what I do next. And that is what truly matters at the end of the day, because I'm only doing this for the expression of the art, and I hope people can see that. That is
totally
my answer.
No, but I mean, I think it's really hard for somebody who's not in a position like yours to totally understand, I think, the mental aspect of what you go through when you have so many people watching your every move. So I just think it's, I can only empathize with that. And it seems like you have a good approach to kind of going forward.
Yeah, and I just have a really good support system. I can,
and that's important too. Yeah.
The amount of times I'm just crying in my room, being I don't know. I tried really hard on this, and everyone's just saying that I'm just trying to be a wannabe. And my friends will come in and be like, "Do they know you? Do they know you, Alexis?" I'm like, I mean, I don't know. They've been following me for really long. Do they know you? I'm like, no. Okay.
No,
they don't have
they don't.
priority. It's what Brene Brown says. It's are they in the arena? Okay, no. Then you don't have. I only trust people that are in the arena with you.
Definitely. And I know another project that you've been working on that's going to be launched and available for all of May is your collection or your anniversary kit with Sonja Dakar.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that and sort of in your involvement in putting that together.
Yeah. So I've known Sonja for about 2 years now, and what I try to implement into brands that I work with is a long-term relationship, because I think when I believe in a brand, I don't want people to overconsume. So if I'm sharing a million different beauty brands, then it's what do you trust? Where's the authenticity in that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been looking for a while to find a skincare brand that I trust, and not only that, but I trust the people behind it. So when I met Sonja, we instantly hit it off, and then I kind of started to, every time I would go in, I would start to confide in her about just being a 20-year-old and trying to figure life out. And then she slowly became a mother figure to me. And that's when I was like, okay, this is my person. These are and it's a family run business. So it's really trusting. Her products are vegan, organic. My skin's never been better, in my entire life. But that's that's just the cherry on top for me. Like, I have a new family now,
Right.
and it made sense to do this during May in honors of the mothers, with the launch of my music, and then on top of it, just to honor her as the mother figure that she is in my life. So it's really cool.
That's so special. Yeah. If you could pick one product from this kit that was put together as the anniversary kit, what would be your sort of go-to here?
For right now, I would probably choose the blue butterfly balm simply because being in the tropics, keeping that moisturization, that's huge for me.
Mhm.
And it's also my perfume. I don't know if you've smelled it before, but it's like,
I have
if
not.
you ever hug me, you'll know that's what I smell like. So,
Okay, Alexis, next time we talk, we'll be hugging, and then that's,
yay!
next time we're allowed to not socially distance.
I know. It's so sad. I'm like, I love
I
people. I want
know.
to hug people.
I haven't hugged somebody in 2 months. It's so sad,
Oh no. Virtual hug.
you know? Well, I
Yeah.
love that, and I love that this is something that, like you said, it goes beyond just we see so many collaborations every single day, promoted across social media, across the entertainment media landscape, and the fact that this has a deeper meaning is so special,
Yeah.
and I think it backs up the point that you made, which is you don't just do a bunch of beauty collaborations and just call it a day. No, like, this one's really special to you, and there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, and like and they're family to me. I always tell people I'm like my goal is to buy my friends clothes, buy my friends skin products, like everything I'm surrounded by is from my friends because I really truly
Uh-huh.
believe that like there's no reason for us to distance business and friendships because if it's an even life energy exchange and we both have the same common goal which is to thrive together, then it's a beautiful thing. So it's just been an amazing thing and I think you're right what you were saying with having a deeper meaning. Story is everything. And like my friend, he always jokes, he's like, best story wins for like life. And I'm like, that's amazing. And I implement that into the collaborations I do in the brands because without the story, what are we actually selling? Because I think so much of it
Mhm.
is the energy behind it. And I always say like I trust Sonja's products because I trust her heart.
Mhm.
And that goes with every brand I work with, you know?
Good,
Yeah.
yeah. And at the end of the day, some of these collaborations are also just born out of the fact that you have people that are interested in what your skincare routine is, what your beauty routine is, what
Yeah.
your fitness routine is, what kind of brands you like to work with or use in your everyday. What's it like, or when did you first realize that people cared about that stuff from you? And because you have this knowledge and these preferences that you can share with people, but when did you first notice that people were kind of paying attention to those things from you?
I think I started to notice it when, people were looking at me as like the perfect girl with the perfect life. And we so much think like the surface things is what makes having the perfect life. And so when I learned that, I was like, okay, well, how can I make this deeper? Like I'm always trying to put depth into everything because any desire that we have as a human, there's a deeper trauma inside of that. It's like, okay, you want to know like what I do for my skincare, but you want to know how I love myself. That's the deeper question because you're looking for that self-love and that self-expression. So once again, it's like reverting back to the story and also the energy behind it. And that's why I wanted to do the collaboration with Only Sonja simply because like she formulates all her own products and like I've never met someone more passionate about skincare in my entire life. Like we've had sessions where like I'm just talking about how grateful I am that she's in my life and she starts crying like when she's on my face and I'm like
Wow.
this is it, like so much of it is like yeah, this is great, but like I want to bring them into a community and Sonia is a really great community to be a part of. I mean, it's like I go over to Shabbat dinners with them and like they're so
Wow.
excited. They spend years making new products. Like they don't just push them out. It's like they'll spend 2 years on one product, test, 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 make sure it's like friendly for all ages. And that's really rare because most skin products have chemicals in them.
Totally. Um, so I want to like kind of step back a little bit because I was first introduced to you as, somebody covering entertainment news when you were on Dancing with the Stars.
Mhm.
And, before that you had, I think the same year you were the rookie of the year for Sports Illustrated. And that was a big year for you just in terms of you being introduced to a, a huge mass of people that probably weren't familiar with you before that.
Yeah.
It was and that was in 2018. And did you feel that shift in your career, in your public image then, just in terms of just like more people being aware of you and I don't know, feeling more pressure at all?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, I'm like, don't worry, like I will always put more pressure on myself than anyone else in the world. So it just what I try to do is implement it into me becoming a better person and not striving to be a perfect person. So that's like the goal, right? Is not to get, and also my big thing, because I'm a huge people pleaser, is learning how to step away from their opinions. Like I always, whenever I'm getting affected by people's opinions, I'll like visualize me and there's a glass wall, and then all of these like opinions are getting thrown at the wall, and then I step to the side of the wall and I'm like, okay, that's not me.
Wow.
So I did that a lot with Dancing with the Stars, and I did that a lot with Sports Illustrated, simply because I was like, yeah, I'm doing these things and this is great, but it's still not me. And these titles are not me.
Mm.
And that's why like expression of art is everything to me. Like going into acting in the last year, like that's another like self-expression, writing, like I'm working on a poetry book right now. These are all just forms of self-expression, because I truly believe that at the core we're all created to be creators. And then unraveling that is like kind of our job in this life.
Mhm. Yeah. Did you feel as though you could have some sort of self-expression, at least on Dancing with the Stars, through
Yeah.
the actual dancing part of it? Like,
Yeah.
kind of if you took that out of, like, the circus of the show and the media attention on that, did you feel at least you could express through the dance?
Yeah. Well, I was a dancer for 10 years, like in my teenage and like younger years. So that was my first form of expression. So, and
Mhm.
I love being on stage. It scares the living hell out of me, but those kinds of adrenaline rushes in those particular scenarios like bring me to life. And so I knew that if I was going to do it, I had to go in 150% and truly
Mhm.
just show up for the dance itself. So yeah, it was the most fun I've ever had, and I'll never do
Yeah.
it again.
Wow.
Simply
And
because
why wouldn't you do it again?
it's I don't think the TV show actually like shares how hard the work actually is. I was in the studio 6 hours a day, every single day, not including show days. Show days are from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then you have 4 days to learn a new genre every single week. And on top of it, that's not like your body doesn't have any time to heal from using different types of muscles. And so I ended up cracking a rib on this side, and then this same week cracking a rib on this side during I think it was Halloween. And
Wow.
like they didn't show that, which I was glad, because I was like, oh, let's just not
It's a little too much,
a little
right?
much, but
Yeah.
it was just there. It was so hard on my body itself that actually after like I had just like joint problems, because it's not natural to go that deep into dance. And I know that because being a ballerina, you spend 8 years to 10 years getting ready for being on point. Whereas they're throwing you into advanced dances in 4 days. So it's just not
Right.
that healthy for you, but it's an
Mhm.
amazing experience. It's like you spend all that time during the week stressing and crying and working and like all these things just to get that 2 minutes on stage. Like that, that's crazy. The concept of that is crazy to me, and it is worth it. Like those 2 minutes are worth it.
What did what did you take from your time in that, because Dancing with the Stars is a really intense spotlight, and I think that there was like a lot of headlines around that time about other things, your relationships and things at the time. But what did
Mhm.
you take from that time period of just did you learn anything from that intense media spotlight at the time at all?
Yeah. You I'm starting to be more private about my relationships.
Hmm.
And that just proved to me to implement that more, because it's really hard when people have opinions about you, but it's even harder when people are having opinions about like where your heart is. That's really hard. So
Hmm.
I just learned to take everything with a grain of salt and move really slowly in that area of my life, because um, people care so much about my personal life, and I appreciate it, but then people also have opinions about my personal life, and that's where I try to draw the line. And It always gets lost in the media, like the media just wants a story that has people click on it. They're not really aware of your heart in that sense. So I reminded myself I have to be more careful, more careful, more careful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my lesson, is to be more
Yeah.
careful. Yeah.
Totally. And I'd like to circle back to something that you mentioned early on that has really stuck with me throughout this, which is, it's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Hmm.
And I think that, throughout your career, you've had several breakout moments. And is that also something that it's hard to, you have to continue to remind yourself about at all, going like in the everyday sense of it? Because obviously macro, you have a really good understanding of this, but it's also probably hard to not get caught up in it day to day.
Yeah. So the micro, we always say, like, I think women really understand that life is the little things, and the micro is an expression of the macro is an expression of the micro. And this goes with science and quantum physics as well. Like, what we're finding out about in quantum physics is what we're actually learning about way up in space, right? And it's just coming back to the same conclusion, that these tiny little differences is what creates this huge macro difference. And so yeah, it's every day is more challenging for me than these huge big group, like, highlighted points in my life. It's those everyday moments where I choose to work out because I want to, and I choose to work out not to punish myself, or I choose to set down my ego when I'm having a disagreement, and to just say, like, our love together is more important than my ego. So it's like those things, like, that's what I consider real progress. And then of course, when you're continuing to do that, you're attracting more of the same respect in your macro. And it's taken me about 2 years. I started reprogramming my brain about like 2 to 3 years ago. So, and I only this year have I seen the manifestation start to come, because it takes a while, right?
Wow.
Like, I was watching this thing the other day, and they're like, think of your brain as like a sled, right? Or like a white snowy mountain, and then there's these sleds that go down, and then over time it gets ingrained, and so there's these roads that are made, right? And those are your thought patterns, and it's like they go down the same road. So what you have to do is actually like completely reprogram your brain. It's not freaking easy, especially to reprogram it to like love yourself. It's like, ugh, like, god damn it. But like,
but it's also half of it's so subconscious too. So to even recognize that subconscious, so to even recognize that is difficult.
Most of the way we like live our life is from subconscious patterns. And that's when I really understood. I was like, oh wow, I'm never going to be able to truly love the people in my life if I can't love myself. And that's when it hit hardest, because I was thinking I was giving love, but I was giving a programmed version of what I thought love was through my trauma. And so it's like coming back to that. And then the more I'm releasing these ideas and these beliefs, I'm seeing it in my external world. It takes longer than what I thought. And that's what I try to remind girls. I'm like, this is a lifetime journey, but you'll start to see results after a couple years. Like, this is not something that you can just like be like, I meditated today, where's my dream life?
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I think there's something about even our generation, which is we want things to happen so quickly, and
so quickly.
It's not, that's just not how things work.
No, it's not the law of the universe that we're living in. It's how it's this instant gratification, because I think that type of instant gratification in the media is more of like a mind control, and not actually giving us what we truly need. It's like giving us our instant desires, right? So it's stepping away from that and being like, that's not real, because anything, and we know this, right? We know all these little quotes, like, anything worth fighting for takes time. And we know that, but actually knowing that is different. Like, whenever I have conversations with my friends and they're like, I know that, I'm like, no, you don't. We wouldn't be having this conversation if you did. Like, and there's a difference between like understanding on that on an intellectual level and then on a cellular level. And that's the reprogramming. That. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Alexis, I think we've gotten very deep here, and I feel like we can probably keep going. No, but we could probably keep going for like 4 hours, but I think we probably have to stop
for sure.
There.
Anyways, Mother's Day, Sonja Dakar.
Mother's Day.
Trust her, love her. Her energy is amazing, and she puts all of her love into her products.
and we love to hear
Yeah.
that. Well, enjoy your time in Hawaii
Thank
and
you.
continue to stay safe and healthy. And we can't wait to see what these other projects are that you
Thank
tease for
you.
us.
Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
very excited to get back to LA and work on everything else. So, all good
love
things.
it.
All right. Have an
All right,
amazing
have a
day.
great rest of your day.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye. For more stories from In the Know, go to intheknow.com. You can also follow In the Know on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and find me, Gibson Johns, on Instagram and Twitter at Gibsonoma. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.